Hi, I'm Matt Simon, Senior Analyst at TABB Group, and I'm here today with Jeanette Turner, Managing Director and General Counsel of Advise Technologies. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Great. Today we're going to talk about the updates to Form PF and some of the regulations that were needing to be filed. So what's been going on with Form PF? What's been the latest since the last time you were here?
Well, since last time I was here, essentially on April 30th, just a couple weeks ago, every hedge fund and private equity firm and private investment advisor that had to file Form PF has now filed Form PF for the first time. So previously, larger investment advisors filed Form PF on a quarterly basis, and on April 30th, the annual filers filed, which are smaller hedge funds and private equity firms.
So also we've been understanding that some other firms beyond just traditional hedge funds and some of the larger hedge funds have also been impacted by some new forms of regulation. Is that the case?
Yeah, CPO-PQR is the next on the horizon. So CPO-PQR is a new regulatory reporting obligation from the CFTC that came out since Dodd-Frank. Those who were already registered with the CFTC already started filing CPO-PQR last Q3, Q4. But
I'm just going to cut you off there for a second. So for anyone who doesn't know what that stands for, what CPO-PQR stands for, what does that exactly mean?
Well, CPO is obviously your commodity pool operator. PQR is pool quarterly reports. And the NFA already had PQR quarterly reporting before Dodd-Frank, but since Dodd-Frank, the CFTC added it as well. So now you have to register with the CFTC, file CPO-PQR with the CFTC. You also have to be a member of the NFA and file NFA-PQR with the NFA.
So we have different regulators asking for different forms. There's got to be some consistency there. There's a lot of disparate sources of data that are going to be required for these forms. What's out there, what's available that can help these investment managers get through some of this regulatory burdensome process?
Yeah, fund managers are definitely finding themselves reporting to multiple regulators across multiple jurisdictions, and the data that's being required is similar. 40% of CPO-PQR is mapped to information that's provided in Form PF. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of similarities across the forms, and yet they're interpreting the information differently. So you have to collect data from your multiple prime brokers, your fund admin, maybe your IR system, your data warehouse, and you have to collect that information, but then you have to interpret it in a different way and calculate it in a different way in order to file these multiple forms to your multiple regulators. And it's a problem that investment advisors are finding themselves in now,
And this CPO-PQR, is there a certain time or deadline when this is going to start?
Well, those who were already registered with the CFTC have already started filing it, but a lot of fund managers were exempt from registering with the CFTC. That exemption expired and they had to register as of 12/31. This is because of Dodd-Frank. So they are filing for the first time for Q1 2013. That filing is May 30. So even though you have Form PF behind you now you have to look to CPO-PQR. So on May 30th, many fund managers are going to be filing CPO-PQR for the first time. I think not an official number, but I think by my count, about 700 or so.
700 funds. So, and some of the largest funds, they already have these solutions already in place for most of them because they were already doing Form PF, and now that everyone had to do it as of April 30th, there's not too many more that have this problem that they need to face going forward.
The larger funds did invest in resources and technology to file Form PF. Those who did not invest immediately on Form PF, once they see other forms coming down the pipeline, like CPO-PQR, or when you go to Europe, AIFMD, they start to realize that you need technology to automate the process because you are collecting data from multiple sources, you're answering multiple forms, and it just becomes too much. It's an efficiency problem.
Okay, and so, we're talking mostly US here. What about Europe? Aren't we going to be seeing some of the same regulatory requirements in Europe?
Yeah, Europe is a hot topic right now. AIFMD is coming down, and there's still a lot of unknowns.
Is there a deadline around AMIFD?
AIFMD is going to be implemented in the different European member states July 22nd.
Okay.
If you're marketing, it affects you if you're marketing in Europe, whether you're a European advisor or a US fund manager. If you're marketing to European investors, it's going to affect you. There's a reporting requirement possibly to each member state. It depends on where you're marketing. And that reporting requirement could begin as early as the end of October.
So we have a lot of deadlines coming up, and some of these regulations are going to be very impactful to the investment manager, especially as regulators around the world start looking for more transparency. Something to keep an eye out on. Thank you to Jeanette for coming by and telling us a little bit about it. And Matt Simon, Senior Analyst at TABB Group, thank you.
Thank you.